The origins of the Space Marines. Warhammer 40k is a miniature tabletop wargame that takes place in a dystopian future where the human race is trapped in a constant up and down battle with various adversaries across the universe. Some of the most iconic characters in the game are the Space Marines, also referred to as Adeptus Astartes. They are ultra-human soldiers who have been created primarily to defend the Imperium of Man, a vast human empire that occupies most of the Milky Way galaxy. These Space Marines have undergone rigorous training as well as psychological conditioning and genetic modification. The origin of these entities is very complicated, but it makes for a fascinating story. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Primary threat spotted.
Moving into position.
Neutralizing.
Take cover!
What is the origin story of the Space Marines, and how have they evolved over time? The origin of Space Marines goes back a very long time. The Emperor of Mankind, who is an extremely powerful psychic being, emerged and united human civilizations that were littered across the universe. It's the Emperor who created the Space Marines to be the leaders of his armies, using advanced technologies such as genetic engineering in order to make them much quicker, more powerful, and with much more stamina than an ordinary human being. The first Space Marines were created using the DNA of the Emperor's previous set of enhanced warriors known as the Primarchs, who were demigods having a set of special abilities that were passed on to the Space Marines. The Emperor had the premonition that human civilization would be destroyed by alien races and demonic entities, so he decided to create the Space Marines. The Adeptus Mechanis were established by the Emperor as a technological and religious organization that was required to build the necessary equipment, as well as weapons, needed by the Space Marines. These included very powerful armor consisting of a heavily fortified suit, as well as a range of weapons from bolters to chainswords. The Space Marines played a critical role in the Great Crusade, which was a huge military campaign by the Emperor to unite humankind. However, there was a civil war called the Horus Heresy among the Space Marines that led to the downfall of the Emperor, as well as humankind's descent into a state of decay and war. The Space Marines were broken up into smaller chapters to tackle different kinds of threats following the events of the Horus Heresy, each with its own set of beliefs, practices, and unique characteristics. They are principally responsible for the defense of humankind and specialize in specific types of combat and use specialized weapons. The gene seed that is responsible for the birth of the Space Marines is unstable, creating mutations that generate unique abilities and physical characteristics. For example, one chapter called Space Wolves has an unusually high rate of mutation and has wolf-like features and enhanced senses. There are several new types of units like Death Watch, which specialize in fighting Xenos and alien threats. There are also Grey Knights, who are secretive chapters specializing in fighting the demonic forces of chaos. There is always the development of new technologies leading to chapters like Primaris Space Marines, who are stronger and faster soldiers. Another notable chapter in the wake of the Civil War is the Ultramarines, who are one of the most prominent chapters due to their leaders' power and strategy. The Civil War, i.e. the Horus Heresy, marked a shift in the perception of the Space Marines. Previously, they were depicted as perfect warriors who were always victorious. Now, they were regarded as fallible and even corruptible. As a result, there was a much darker portrayal of these Space Marines post-Civil War. In recent years, there has been a particular emphasis on the moral ambiguity of Space Marines and their role in defending humankind. Their brutality and ruthlessness came in conflict with their sense of justice and morality. There are roughly 1,000 different chapters, with each chapter having approximately 1,000 warriors. Individual chapters are extremely proud of their history and achievements. They possess their own colors as well as heraldic symbols. The main weapon of the Space Marine is a bolter that can fire fatal shells that explode within the flesh of the target. The Space Marines trace their origins back to the Unification Wars on Terra in the late 30th millennium, when the Emperor presented himself and commanded a legion of genetically enhanced warriors known as Thunder Warriors to unite all the human tribes under his rule. These Thunder Warriors were a combination of superhuman strength and incredible resilience to any sort of hostile environment. environment. However, they weren't perfect. Some became mentally unstable and others suffered biological failure. Their own superhuman power ultimately turned against them. The Emperor realized that he needed a more stable and longer-lasting force to defend humankind. This resulted in the creation of the Primarchs. Each of them was created with unique abilities and traits. Originally, there were 20 Primarchs. During the Great Crusade, one of them, named Horus, rebelled against the Emperor, resulting in the civil war known as the Horus Heresy. Due to this, half of the Primarchs turned against humankind, while the other half remained loyal to the Emperor. After the Horus Heresy, only a handful of Primarchs remained, and the fate of the rest is unknown. The Space Marines were created from the genetic material of these Primarchs. Space Marines were earlier seen as elite warriors defending humankind, also known as the Imperium. Over time, the background of these Space Marines has been greatly expanded to expose various details about their organization, background, and culture. There has been a greater influence on spirituality, as they were seen as no-nonsense soldiers in the past. They are now portrayed to be heavily religious by believing in the God Emperor of humankind, whom they worship as a divine entity. Specific chapters have unique spiritual practices. Earlier, the Space Marines were seen as unambiguous heroes, but now they seem much more flawed and gray. They have engaged in questionable and brutal behavior in the past, with some Space Marines even betraying the Imperium. In the early editions of Warhammer 40k, Space Marines stood out from other units because of their superior stats and weapons. Over time, players have been given more and more ways to customize their Space Marine armies using a multitude of weapons as well as armor. There are also several Space Marine chapters to choose from, each with their own special attributes. The visual design of the Space Marines has undergone several changes over the years in terms of aesthetics and technology. Previously, Space Marine armor was too simple and blocky. This was changed so that the new armor was much more intricate. Their weapons have also become quite vast and varied, with each chapter having unique weapons. These changes have helped keep the Warhammer franchise fresh and popular, creating long-term fans as well as capturing new ones.
Accept these burdens as the
How
Imperium.
do Space Marine chapters recruit and train new members? And what is the process like? The process of training and recruiting Space Marines depends on the chapter, but there are some shared rituals. The first step is to be identified, which can happen through genetic screening, tissue compatibility, or a few other ways. Once identified, the potential recruit will undergo a series of grueling mental and physical tests in order to determine their suitability. Once a recruit is accepted in a particular chapter, they are termed a neophyte. Neophytes undergo extremely rigorous training for several years, including weapons training and mind conditioning. They are also implanted with a host of organs in order to enhance their physical characteristics. These implants are known as gene seeds, which have been sourced from Primarchs. They also undergo hypnotherapy. Neophytes are then assigned to different squads and undertake advanced roles in the chapter. Ultimately, they'll be assigned to the rank of Space Marine, when they will be assigned with a permanent squad within the chapter. Space Marines are capable of spitting acidic venom, being radiation resistant, as well as being able to individually turn off parts of their brain. Most recruits join between 10 to 12 years of age, and previously they were usually male because the gene seed required male hormones. The first implant is a secondary heart that allows a Space Marine to be able to operate in low oxygen situations. The second implant is a tubular organ that secretes hormones affecting the ossification of the skeleton and encouraging the development of bone size and strength. The third implant is in the chest cavity and uses hormones to encourage muscle growth. In this way, up to 19 phases of implantations are performed. The 19th and final implant allows the Space Marine to neurally merge with objects such as vehicles and gain an intuitive feeling and control of them. After this procedure, the Space Marine must undergo chemical treatment, wherein imbalances are corrected and any sign of negative development is treated. This chemical treatment must be undergone throughout their lives in order to maintain a stable metabolism. After this, there is some hypnotherapy, which is very important because it's necessary for some of their implants to work properly. Hypnotherapy is not generally as efficacious as chemical treatment, but it's still very important for practical and real-world issues. A Space Marine is taught how to control his own metabolism, thereby lessening his dependence on any drugs. There's a special machine that's used for this purpose, in which Space Marines are put into a hypnotic state. The last major step in Space Marine conditioning is called indoctrination. After receiving their 19 distinct implants, Space Marines' minds are tweaked in such a way that they have mind-boggling control over their nervous system compared to a normal human being. They are able to endure pain that would definitely be fatal for a normal human being. A Space Marine also has an extremely agile mind that can think and react quickly, as well as having a photographic memory. It's important to note here that Space Marines vary in their intellectual capacities, much like human beings do. A family is always quite proud when one of its members is selected to be graduated to the rank of Space Marine. The neophyte must participate in various rituals. Some involve recalling the sacrifices the Emperor made for humanity, while others include a celebration of that specific chapter's zeitgeist. Some rituals are much more gory, involving blood and amputation. Aspirants must overcome various trials before they can actually be called Space Marines. These trials are extremely difficult and are often fatal. However, the manner in which an aspirant deals with the difficulty of the trial is judged to be more important than whether the aspirant is successfully able to complete the trial or not. The majority of aspirants actually fail their trial, and many die trying. After completing the trials, the aspirant is taken to join a chapter. One common trial is called a blood duel trial, which is basically a duel, quite often to the death, between aspirants using different weapons. Some chapters use spears, others use swords, and etc. A blood duel is fought in rounds and is heavily ritualistic. There is a trial called Hunting the Hunter trial, in which you have to slay huge beasts which often prey on humans. This particular trial is a test of the strategy and determination of the aspirant. Sometimes, after killing the captured beast, blood offerings are made in a heavily ritualized ceremonial sacrifice. Chapters, such as Space Wolves, are famous for using this trial, with an intimidating wolf being the target. Then there's the exposure trial, in which the aspirant is exposed to a hellish environment and must survive with the most basic of equipment. The self trial is one where the aspirant consumes a psychoactive drink and must face off against the worst his or her own mind and psyche can produce. Finally, the most deadly trial of all is the challenge trial, where an aspirant competes against a proper Space Marine. Most contests in this particular trial end in the death of the aspirant. Very rarely, when an aspirant beats a Space Marine, that aspirant usually goes on to become a legendary figure in that chapter, and maybe even in the entire universe. Thus, by using such trials, chapters are able to recruit new aspirants. There are some specific rules of recruitment for Space Marines, some of which have been violated in the lore to make the overall Warhammer universe more inclusive. In general, the gene seed that develops normal humans into Space Marines is compatible only with male humans' hormones and genes. There is a great debate about a female Space Marine's existence, but some have said it is possible through some genetic restructuring. Normally, however, trying to implant a woman with a gene seed would lead to her terrible and painful demise. Space Marine candidates must also be adolescent or very young adults in order to be able to naturally coordinate one's body with the implants. However, candidates as old as 20 have been able to handle the implants and successfully become Space Marines. The immunogenetic compatibility of the candidate is also important, as not everyone has the genetics and body to be able to handle the implants. Organ failure or autoimmune attacks may occur. A candidate must also be mentally fit and not have any psychological disorders, because potential candidates have to undergo rigorous psychological training. Overall, the recruitment of a Space Marine is a complex process filled with almost unassailable challenges, and only the best of the best can actually hold the rank of a Space Marine. Space Marines enjoy special godlike status in the Warhammer universe, although that infallible image has changed over the years. Nevertheless, it's considered a monumental achievement to have become a Space Marine, and countless people try out for it, only for most of them to fail or even die. But the ones who survive are transformed into among the most elite warriors in the entire Warhammer universe.
So let it be war.
How are Space Marines structured into chapters, and what are some of the most notable chapters in the Warhammer 40k universe? In the Warhammer 40k canon, the legendary Space Marines are grouped into semi-autonomous and self-contained military units, each of which are known as chapters, consisting of 1,000 soldiers divided into 10 companies, each led by a captain containing 100 soldiers each. Chapters are regulated by a chapter master, who is the most capable of all the warriors within that chapter. This organization is for practical reasons, as it allows for faster deployment of forces against various types of powerful enemies. Individual chapters must remain loyal to the Imperium, and Space Marines are held accountable by the High Lords of Terra, or Earth. Every chapter is extremely proud of their background and legacy. The Space Marines serve as the first servants of the Emperor in times of conflict. It's extremely unlikely that all 10 companies of a chapter are present together in the battlefield unless it's some huge cataclysmic event like the Tyrannic Wars. In such a situation, permission must be sought from the High Lords of Terra, and the forces must be led by the chapter master himself. Space Marines are broadly divided into 3 types: Assault, Tactical, and Devastator. Each of these types has its specific role and operates together with maximum synergy. Additionally, there are Veteran, Terminator, and Scout squads. Veteran and Terminator squads are formed from members of the 1st Company, while Scout squads are formed from the 10th Company. Each squad has 10 members, with the sole exception of the Scout squad. Neophytes who have just joined a chapter have to train through various roles within that chapter, starting off as a young Scout Marine. That young Scout Marine must move up the ranks and ideally become a veteran, although that is an extremely hard task to accomplish. Scouts are formed from the 10th Company, and a Scout squad is made up of a veteran sergeant and a number of Scout Marines. The sergeant leads the young Scouts through intense infiltration and recon missions, wherein the Scout will develop experience and learn the finer aspects of combat. To start with, Space Marines are equipped with a bolter as well as grenades. Once they have proven themselves to be steady and dependable, a Space Marine is given the responsibility of heavy weapons. Once it is established that a particular Space Marine excels at combat, he's promoted to the Assault Squad. In these squads, a Space Marine learns the art of hand-to-hand combat. The common weapons of Assault Squads include a bolt pistol and a chainsword, as well as an optional plasma pistol. Tactical squads are the most common types of Space Marines one encounters in battle. After winning thousands of wars, a Space Marine can perhaps be promoted to the ranks of a veteran. However, most chapters determine the status of a veteran not necessarily on length of time served, but on the number of heroic activities performed by a particular Space Marine. Before serving as a veteran, many Space Marines train young scouts as sergeants. Veterans are grouped into Terminator squads, which are occasionally used in combat and play more of a strategic role. Terminators can wear special armor that bears a piece from none other than the Emperor's armor itself. Veterans also have access to the most powerful weapons of humankind. It is very rare for an entire company of veterans to be fielded into battle. They function on more individual levels. Each chapter's 10 companies are spearheaded by the captain, who is second only to the chapter master. The chapter master is a leader with millennia of experience under his belt and is unsurpassed in his fighting as well as tactical skills.
Imagine the power you could wield. As a slave to chaos, nothing you say can tempt me from the path of honor, or from avenging the deaths of my battle brothers.
Some important chapters include Number 1, the Ultramarines. They are considered one of the most prestigious chapters and are known for their tactical prowess. They have exemplary discipline and show extreme loyalty towards the Emperor. Its entire elite 1st Company was once killed in battle, and it took a century for them to recover. Number 2, Space Wolves. Space Wolves descend from a frigid world and have the reputation of being fiercely independent and highly unorthodox, disobeying many rules and agreements that are otherwise agreed upon by the other chapters. Number 3, Dark Angels. The Dark Angels are a secretive chapter and one of the oldest. They were formed during the early days of the Imperium. They have a mysterious aura around them and had once allegedly betrayed the Emperor during the Horus Heresy, as some of its brethren turned towards the side of Horus, thereby stabbing the Imperium in the back. Number 4, Imperial Fists. This chapter is known for their resolve and stamina, having taken part in thousands and thousands of battles throughout their long history. They are siege specialists. Number 5, Iron Hands. This chapter does not like its remnant human body and wants to replace it with pure bionic components. They are known for their hubris and their lack of empathy in battle, being brutal to the point of extreme. They are among the most powerful chapters in combat. There are also 9 Traitor Space Marine chapters who sided with Horus during the civil war known as the Horus Heresy. Some of the most important ones are Number 1, the Luna Wolves. The Luna Wolves were once included among the very best and most favored of the Emperor's forces, and were renamed the Sons of Horus after the chapter's primarch, Horus, received great honors from the Emperor. Horus, however, soon rebelled against the Emperor, making the Luna Wolves a traitorous chapter. The Luna Wolves were renamed again, this time as the Black Legion, after the death of Horus at the hands of the Emperor. Number 2, Night Lords. Night Lords betrayed the trust of humankind and the Emperor during the Horus Heresy. They thoughtlessly disseminate evil and fear across the entire galaxy. Night Lords use special terror tactics in order to win battles and decrease the enemy's morale even before the battle actually begins. Number 3. Thousand Suns. This traitorous chapter is singularly dedicated to the Chaos God of Sorcery. The members of this chapter possess special psychic abilities that make them extremely powerful in battle. They have no organic bodies. Their bodies are fused directly into their armor. Number 4. Iron Warriors. The Iron Warriors are the evil equivalent of the Imperial Fist chapter of the Space Marines, and share an ancient rivalry with them. They tend to enjoy replacing their body parts with cybernetic enhancements. They are siege specialists, much like the Imperial Fists. Number 5. Alpha Legion. This traitorous chapter is specialized in infiltration, covert operation, and diversion tactics. Very little is known about this chapter in general. The true allegiance of this chapter is unclear. Their devotion to chaos might not be all that strong, and they might be double agents. Overall, Space Marine organization is a fascinating topic because it delves into the theoretical as well as practical extremes of military efficiency and deployability. The entire military structure of the Space Marines is so intricately fine-tuned and rigorously hierarchical that they have become among the most elite warriors in the entire universe. But it is this highly detailed and complex process of initiation, training, and growth that has led the Space Marines to this place of greatness. What kind of weapons and gear do Space Marines use? Space Marines possess some of the most powerful weapons among all factions in the Warhammer universe. Their primary weapon is the Bolter, which is the combination of a machine gun and a grenade launcher, being capable of firing rounds that penetrate even the most durable armor. The Bolter is also capable of being fired in full auto mode, allowing a Space Marine to project a stream of continuous bullets. Then there's the Chainsword, which is a close combat weapon that's basically a sword with a powered chainsaw attached, and it's the trademark weapon of the Ultramarine chapter. It's capable of slashing through anything, from bone to steel. The chainsaw also has a harrowing sound that generates fear in enemies. We can divide further weapons into certain groups: melee, light, and heavy weapons. Melee, or short-range weapons, include the Chainsword, the Power Axe, and the Thunderhammer. The Thunderhammer is the most powerful melee weapon. This two-handed monstrosity combines a massive head made up of adamantium with a powerful field generator that's able to electrify the whole weapon, making it even more powerful. It's used as a symbol of authority by high-ranking officers among the Space Marines. They are particularly favored by the elite Terminator units against heavily armored enemies. The Thunderhammer also emits a sonic boom, creating a thundering roar that disorients and scares enemies. The Thunderhammer is thusly a symbol of might for the Space Marines. The Power Axe is a versatile but deadly melee weapon that's one-handed and made up of a shard blade made of adamantium and is powered by a small energy field generator built into its hilt. It's capable of cutting through almost everything, even heavily armored targets. This weapon is used particularly by Assault Marines and Vanguard veterans. It's very reliable and quick to use. The Power Axe is also used to cut through obstacles and is a highly versatile tool. Light weapons include the primary weapon, i.e. the Bolter, as well as other weapons like the Bolt Pistol, Plasma Pistol, and Kraken Bolter. The Bolt Pistol has unlimited ammo and fires explosive shells called bolt rounds, which are capable of penetrating armor and causing significant damage. Bolt pistols have a distinctive cracking or banging sound which can intimidate enemies. It's easy to use and maintain, and thus a popular choice among Space Marines. The Plasma Pistol fires blasts of superheated plasma and is commonly used by Space Marines as a secondary weapon. They are highly effective against most targets and can penetrate armor, causing significant damage. They are compact and easy to use, making them a popular choice among Space Marines. They have unlimited ammo, but their drawbacks include potential overheating and exploding. Plasma pistols are relatively rare and expensive, but they are quite versatile in nature. The Kraken Bolter is a heavy bolter with a specialized type of ammunition, designed to penetrate heavy armor and cause explosive damage. It's much more powerful than standard bolters and can penetrate much thicker armor than them. This makes them highly effective against tanks and dreadnoughts. Kraken bolts have an explosive charge detonating upon impact, causing additional damage. This is particularly effective against a cluster group of enemies. It is thus a highly coveted weapon among Space Marines. There are many heavy weapons in the Warhammer universe, such as Stalker Bolter, Storm Bolter, Vengeance Launcher, Melt-A-Gun, plasma gun, and laser cannon. The Stalker Bolter is a specialized bolter weapon designed to be primarily used by Space Marine scouts and other stealth units. It's a long-range sniper-like weapon capable of firing accurately over large distances. It's also silent in its firing mechanism, which distinguishes it from other bolters. Thus, it is the ideal weapon for stealth operations where silence is critical. The Storm Bolter has a higher volume of fire when compared to other bolters, making it effective against hordes of not heavily armored enemies. It fires 2 rounds at each trigger pull, allowing it to engage multiple targets quickly. This weapon can be mounted on vehicles as well as Terminator armor. There are special rounds called Hellfire rounds, designed to cause heavy damage to armored targets. The Vengeance Launcher is a specialized missile launcher used by Space Marine Terminators and other heavily armored troops. It's designed for several types of missiles. It can track and destroy enemy vehicles and armored targets guided by sophisticated target locking technology, and is able to traverse complicated terrain. It can fire frag missiles, which are a blast of shrapnel and explosives, as well as crack missiles, which are highly explosive anti-tank missiles intended for penetrating heavy armor. It is one of the most powerful weapons in Warhammer. The Melt-A-Gun is a highly specialized weapon designed to melt and vaporize enemy armor at close range, making it a highly powerful anti-armor weapon. It's a type of plasma weapon that has a very short range, but extreme potency. In the original Warhammer tabletop game, it has a short range of only 12 inches. It is used to take out high-status targets. The laser cannon is a type of energy weapon that is long-range and anti-armor. It fires a focused beam of light that is so powerful it can penetrate even the thickest armor. It can be mounted on tanks and some other vehicles, and it can also be carried by some infantry. It is highly expensive and can be difficult to aim while also having a slow rate of fire. Overall, it's quite effective under the right circumstances. Scout armor in Warhammer is worn by Space Marine scouts and is a lightweight armor designed for fast movement and stealth operations. It is less heavily armored than the power armor worn by Space Marines, but it is much more flexible and mobile. The Scout armor has a lot of advanced sensors and communication equipment, helping scouts to gather intelligence data and coordinate with allies. Scout armor helps Scout Marines move quickly and quietly, ideal for ambush and recon missions, but it leaves them vulnerable to enemy fire because they're only lightly armored. Hence, scouts must rely on their agility and stealth and avoid taking direct blows to the armor. The power armor is designed to enhance a Space Marine's strength, speed, and stamina. It consists of several layers of advanced technologies like adamantium alloys and a neural interface linking the armor to the nervous system and brain of the wearer. Different chapters of Space Marines have different variants of armors, like Ultramarines having blue armor with a prominent eagle symbol, while Blood Angels wear red armor with a stylized blood drop. Terminator armor is designed to provide superior protection and firepower. It is forged out of advanced materials and features an integrated life support system. It has built-in weapons like Storm Bolters and Power Fists. Terminator armor is much heavier and more durable than power armor worn by the average Space Marine. However, it restricts mobility and renders its wearer less agile. Terminator armor is impervious to small arms fire and can withstand heavy explosions. It is reserved for the most elite among Space Marines. Artificer armor is a type of advanced power armor worn by veterans or captains and other special warriors. It is the pinnacle of humankind's technology and provides unparalleled protection and mobility. It is constructed from rare and exotic materials and can withstand unworldly amounts of damage. It is also highly customizable and can be equipped with various weapons like plasma pistols and Melt-A-Guns. It is reserved for the most skilled and experienced Space Marines. Vehicles play a crucial role in the Warhammer universe, serving as transport and recon platforms. Some iconic vehicles include: Number 1, the Rhino, a heavily armored transport vehicle used by Space Marines to transport troops into battle. Number 2, the Imperial Knight, a towering war machine piloted by a noble knight of the Imperium, armed with powerful weapons and impervious to most forms of damage. And Number 3, the Land Raider, a heavily armored assault vehicle used to deliver troops and heavy weapons to the front lines. Consequently, here we can see the depth and variety of the Warhammer universe's weapons, armors, and vehicles. The Space Marines, being among the most elite warriors, get access to the very best among these weapons, armors, and vehicles because they can skillfully control the power. Overall, the high degree of variability and customization of weapons in the Warhammer universe is one factor that's helped keep it fresh in the eyes of fans.
The gods of chaos protect me with the very energies of creation. You forget, Nemeroth. I am no stranger to the touch of the warp.
Who are the enemies of the Space Marines, and what are some of their most notable conflicts? As the foremost defenders of humankind, Space Marines have to deal with a wide variety of enemies, the most significant of which are: Number 1. Chaos Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines are former Space Marines who have turned against the Imperium and the Emperor, and now serve the Dark Gods of Chaos. They are mortal enemies of the Imperium and the Loyalist Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines are known for their combat ability as well as their use of demonic allies and dark technology. They pledge allegiance to one or more among 4 dark gods, whom in combination as a single entity is known as Chaos Undivided. Though it happens very seldom, the ultimate goal of the Chaos Space Marines is to achieve immortality and perform actions that may lead them to be transformed into a demonic prince. There are 9 traitorous chapters that form the Chaos Space Marines: Emperor's Children, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, and so on. Number 2. Orcs. Orcs are a race of green-skinned aliens who love combat and are almost always at war. They are very formidable in close combat and often use high-tech weapons. Orcs share physiological features of both animals and fungi. They are often perceived as savage creatures, but they are the most successful creatures in the entire galaxy in terms of reproduction and sheer numbers. Orcs are among the most dangerous alien races, and their extreme population is a source of constant threat. However, there is a lot of infighting among the orcs, and, as a result, most orcs do not lead long lives. Number 3. Tyranids. Tyranids are a race of alien creatures traveling the galaxy in search of food, and are well known for their ability to rapidly evolve and adapt. They are extragalactic and composed of ugly insectoid creatures. They consume all sorts of biomass in their path, from creatures to planets. They are capable of overwhelming enemies with their extreme numbers, even possibly outnumbering orcs. They have powerful monstrous creatures as well among their race, such as carnifexes and trigons. They have a collective intelligence known as the hive mind, which controls the actions of the entire species with extreme precision and efficiency. Number 4. Necrons. Necrons are an ancient race of robotic beings that have recently woken up from a long period of hibernation. They are very resilient and possess powerful weapons, making them a formidable enemy. Necrons were once organic species, but have now technologically transformed into soulless machines to avoid a genetic disease. They are very durable and are equipped with quite powerful weapons and spectacular powers, like the ability to teleport across a battlefield or reanimate fallen warriors as mindless drones. Number 5. Eldar. Eldar are an ancient and highly advanced humanoid alien race, possessing both incredible psychic powers as well as technology. They are very arrogant creatures, and believe they are a superior race. Very little is known about how they evolved. Eldar are highly dexterous, and can manipulate very small objects. They can be highly emotional, more so than human beings, and much more intelligent. Eldar are fond of music and other creative endeavors, and are unlike most alien species. They must learn how to control their inner darkness or suffer a terrible fate such as their ancestors. There's a possibility they'll go extinct in the future. Number 6. Tau. The Tau are a relatively new faction in the Warhammer universe, consisting of highly advanced aliens who seek to diplomatically and technologically unite the entire galaxy. Tau live within the doctrines of a specific form of utilitarian philosophy that they have dubbed the greater good. They are an initially peaceful species, often asking the enemy to join their cause. However, they are very much capable of war, even of taking over entire planets. Tau have made remarkable advances in technology during very little time, making them arguably the most intellectually productive species known. Number 7. Chaos Demons. Chaos Demons are powerful entities from the Warp, the realm of chaos, that can be summoned by Chaos Space Marines and other warriors. They are extremely dangerous and strong, and quite hard to permanently destroy. They lack self-will in the sense that humans understand it. Chaos Demons are, in a way, the manifestation of one of the Chaos Gods, who, while normally in battle with each other, are in alliance in the mortal realm. Chaos Demons are made up out of raw psychic energy, which gives a hint of the composition of the Chaos Gods themselves.
Drop of my blood! I will see the galaxy freed once more!
The notable conflicts in which Space Marines have taken part. Number 1. The Horus Heresy. The Horus Heresy is a major event in the Warhammer lore that chronicles the downfall of the Emperor's most trusted son, Horus Lupercal, as well as his betrayal of the Imperium. The Space Marines played a central role in this conflict, both as loyalist defenders of the Imperium and as traitors who sided with Horus. In the early stages, chapters like Ultramarines and Imperial Fists, among others, remained loyal to the Emperor, while the Sons of Horus and Emperor's Children, among others, defected. The Space Marines were tasked with fighting against each other and engaged in epic battles. Both parties were spearheaded by legendary leaders. Ultimately, the loyalist Space Marines were victorious, with the Emperor slaying Horus himself. Number 2. The Tyrannic War. The Tyrannic War saw the arrival of a massive Tyranid hive fleet in the galaxy, and the ensuing battle between them and the Imperium. Space Marines played a critical role in that conflict, as being highly trained and genetically enhanced, they are ideal to fight the Tyranids, who are highly adaptable and possess lethal weapons. Space Marines were often deployed in small squads or part of large battle groups against key Tyranid targets, like synapse creatures, which play a huge role in enemy coordination. Space Marines also played a huge role in boosting army morale and served the Emperor in this war selflessly, despite being against overwhelming odds. Ultimately, the Imperium managed to successfully stave off the Tyranid invasion, whilst preventing the consumption of key planets and systems. Number 3. The Third War for Armageddon. This conflict was fought between the Imperium and various Orc warbands, and was triggered due to an invasion of the planet Armageddon by a massive Orc horde. A large force of troops was sent to the Imperium to dispel the invaders, led by legendary Space Marine Commander Dante of the Blood Angels Space Marines chapter. Despite this large attack, these forces were pushed back by the Orcs. The Space Marines played a critical role in this conflict, as they were instrumental in a counterattack by the Imperium. Space Marines also served as shock troops, leading raids and spearheading massive assaults. Eventually, with help from the alien race Eldar, the forces of the Imperium were able to successfully drive the Orc away. Number 4. The Badab War. The Badab War was fought between loyalist Space Marine forces and renegade Space Marine forces who engaged in an internal strife with each other. Space Marines were critical to this war, as the participants of the war were the various chapters of Space Marines. The war was extremely brutal and costly, with both sides incurring heavy casualties. Eventually, the loyalist forces gained an upper hand, and the renegades were killed or captured. This war had a huge impact on the Imperium at large, because it highlighted the dangers of internal rebellion among powerful entities like Space Marines. As a result, the Imperium took several steps to prevent a repeat in the future, but tensions between Space Marine chapters continue to this day. Number 5. The Fall of Cadia. The Space Marines played a critical role in the defense of Cadia, a vital fortress world located in a region home to the followers of Chaos during the Fall. As one of the most elite forces out there, Space Marines were deployed to Cadia to aid the planet's defenders against the forces of Chaos. The Space Marines, especially from the Black Templars chapter, fought valiantly alongside Cadian forces against the Chaos occupation. They used their advanced training and superior genetics to overcome the situation, but despite their valiant efforts, they failed and were unable to prevent the fall of Cadia. The sheer size and ferocity of the Chaos invasion overwhelmed even the Space Marines. Even though they lost, this battle highlights the bravery, skill, and determination of the Space Marines.
Angels.
Marvelous verdict. Space Marines are one of the most iconic and recognizable characters in all of Warhammer lore, and they're extremely popular in the artwork and merchandise for the game. As we've learned, they have been at the forefront of many of the game's most significant events. Space Marines also have had a significant impact on the game's community and culture. Their legacy extends even beyond Warhammer. Their iconic design and story has influenced the video game industry as well as the sci-fi novel industry. Space Marines are iconic, influential, and they're Warhammer 40k, baby. And that's all for today, but if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. This has been Corey Whelan for Marvelous Videos. Have a good one, be safe out there, and thanks for watching.
While we draw breath, we stand. While we stand, we fight.